Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching Concert Junkies, Rob and John. Oh yeah.
What's going on, guys? We're live.
What's up,
Would
y'all?
you,
My
would
bad.
you like to introduce yourselves?
I'm Young Hollow, one half of Zombi3cult. His mic went out. And that is down here my younger brother, Lil Omen, who is the other half of Zombi3cult.
What's good with it?
So, would you like to give us a little background story of how it got started?
Shit. I mean, we were probably 12, 13, heavily influenced by Odd Future and Tyler the Creator and their whole little skate culture. We were young little street skateboarders, little ragamuffins running the streets, and we wanted to be just like Odd Future. And one of our friends who was in the band originally, who just quit years ago, had a bar, and he was like, "Zombie cults on the streets, so keep the windows boarded." We took it and just ran with it, and it's been this ever since. Sorry, you might hear my little one in the background.
So, I'm going to start you off with a hard question that I ask every episode. Not musically, what do you want to leave as your legacy as a person?
That's honestly, like, yeah, of course, I would love to be able to leave behind kind of like an impact on music that you see, like Ozzy, 60 years almost in the game, and like, going out as a legend. I'd love to be able to leave the game as a legend, but I guess musically, I just want to, or more than musically, the impact I'd hope to leave behind of a legacy is one of inspiration to people who came from nothing, maybe come up one day and have a little something, your little slice of the pie.
Right, yeah, like, shit. No one's really ever even asked me that before, but just, yeah, some sort of inspiration. Like, I grew up dealing with mental health issues, maybe leave behind some sort of message that could help someone else further on down the line, other than just with music.
Yeah, potentially see the story of two underdogs who, against all odds, managed to make something of themselves from nowhere, West Virginia.
Yeah, it's like no matter who you are, where you're from, what you're dealing with, if there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question. That really is. We've never been asked that.
If you could pick a song to describe you as a person, not one of your own, what song would that be if you had to send it to somebody?
Story of the Stairs by MGK. It's because I like a lot of people hate on MGK, like, style switches. Not a fan of his newer music, but in the song "Story of the Stairs," it's about how his biological mom just left him and never came back, and how he waited for years and years and years for her to finally show up in his life, just to not know what to say, like still be nervous to meet her. Because like that song, like his story resonates a lot with me because I grew up the same way.
Shit, for me, I don't think I could necessarily pick just one song, but a lot of Jelly Roll's music resonates through me. So just a list of various Jelly Roll songs. If I had to pick, maybe maybe Save Me, or Roll Me Up and Smoke Me When I Die.
Yeah, that's a good one. I've always said, like, when I pass, I want to be cremated and mixed into some soil and grow some magical plants from me. That way, maybe like the movie How High was real. Like, maybe you could smoke me and still be able to hang out with me. You never know. Let me live on. Reincarnation.
So, with your writing style, is it everything of? Is it sometimes make believe stuff, or is it more of stuff that's happened to you?
Well, me personally, like, I do write a lot of personal shit, like really deep things, and I do hide that throughout my music. But there is like I'm heavily influenced. Like the name that I go by on stage came from Dark Souls. Like that the young Hollow. You were just you aren't the chosen one. Like you are, but there's many chosen ones who have came before you, and there will be many after you. Like I'm just one of many. Like trying to change the direction that music's heading in now, instead of it being a popularity contest. Like bring it back to what's skill. But I do put a lot of like really a lot of my unreleased stuff, or stuff that nobody's really heard. I have a lot of very very personable songs.
Yeah, and I mean, I've dove into the more personal stuff. It's never really been much of my style, but on our album we just dropped, Cult They're Toting 2 Voices from the Horde, I did have one on there, and I pretty much talked through my suicidal tendencies and how I've dealt with it and like what brought me through it and stuff. But more of it, I wouldn't say anything's made up, but I wouldn't say like it's real life either.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, a little bit of mixture
yeah,
of it.
like I mean, there's real aspects to all of it, but are we really a cult? No one really knows.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
As long as there's no Kool Aid involved, you're fine.
Right, man. There was a group that actually released a song like that called Jim Jones, and I wish we would have thought of it first. Like, oh man, and we were like, man, like, kudos to you. You beat us to it.
If you weren't doing music at all, what would you be doing?
Honestly, what I
What?
probably do now, like I'm a jack of all trades, a master of some. Like I mean, music's always been the thing that I've been the most passionate about, but it'd be art in some way or another. Like actually, a couple of these little pieces that you see behind me were things I did myself. Like grew up in art galleries and shit, in
Yeah.
Bluefield. I mean, it's just art. I've always been good with my hands, whether it be writing, painting, doing dumb shit. I've always just enjoyed creating.
Yeah, and as far as me though, I feel like just working, homebody, everything I do outside of music is at home, spending time with the kids, making sure the bills are paid.
If you had a dream job, what would it be?
This making music.
Yeah, this.
I've always said like I don't care to become super fucking wealthy off music. Like yeah, of course it'd be nice to get that fucking $900 billion record deal. But I've
But
always
shit,
said if I
my
can make
lights are on and the water's
yeah,
running,
and
and
I
I
do that.
did it myself, sitting behind the microphone right here. That's
Yeah, I've
ideal.
always I've always said if I can make fucking $50,000 to $60,000 a year off music, I'd be happy. I'd be content with that.
Hell, not even that, because I only make 28 at my job. If
I'm
I could
saying like
match that,
if I could
if
live
I could,
comfortably off music, I'd be happy. I'd be happy. I don't got to have a fucking brand new Bugatti and a Ferrari in the front yard. Like, yeah, it'd be nice, but as long as my bills are paid, my kids are taken care of off my music, I'll be happy.
that's facts.
All right, going back to your music, what song was the most emotional to put out to the world?
Shit, definitely for Omen was motivation. Like that one's super fucking deep. Like we have some old school stuff that's on somebody's hard drive somewhere that probably was the most emotional. Like my hometown and
Yeah, I had that one, Success Over Sleep.
yeah, mine.
And like I literally the whole time I recorded cried while I recorded it. And
Yeah,
that's actually the song that made me realize what music meant to me.
and then I have like on a solo tape I released like 4 years ago called Street Dreams. I had one on there that was a remix of one that Omen did when we were younger called Too Many Thoughts, Too Little Time, which was the name of one of his first solo tapes. And it's a really deep song. Like one of the ones I'm working on now because my older brother last month passed away from an overdose, and
Sorry to hear that.
it's just one of those like I put a lot of like we've put a lot of our pain into music, and that's one thing that's helped us get through the day-to-day bullshit is music. I mean, that's how one of my senior projects in high school was on music and how it can affect your mood. Like, yeah, Eminem said that music will not load a gun and cock it for you, but music can definitely change the way you feel. Like if you're having a shitty day, you put on some Damian Marley, next thing you know, just vibing. Just, the day don't seem so bad anymore. Like, yeah, fuck, I ain't where I want to be, but I'm breathing. And there's days if you feel like shit, you listen to some shitty music, and then you realize like, I'm not the only one going through this. Like there's others out there going through the same thing I'm going through right now. I don't feel so alone. Like, damn, somebody else can relate. That's all I look for really when it comes to music, man. Like, how does this make me feel as a person? Like, does this make me feel? Like, regardless if it's negatively or positively, that music can make you feel. It's one of the things that I've always loved when it comes to music, man.
All right, this is a fun one. If you could pick your own 2-day festival, Friday is, I'm going to say regional, and the second day national.
Oh man, if I could book my own festival, like I have a wide taste in music. Like, I mean, yeah, I love rap. Rap is my go-to genre to listen to. But oh my god, man! Like, of course, like you got to have like Damian Marley on there, and Lamb of God, some Metallica. Fucking, of course, like you can't get Ozzy no more. But get Ozzy on there. If I could see him one last time, like man, if I could, of course, Dio. But that's again.
Yeah.
But oh shit, man! Like
So that'd be your national side.
Yeah, and then like the regional, like there's a group up in Detroit that we listen to called the Hatchet Man Project, Clockwork E.
Yeah, super famous Fun Time Guys.
Yeah. Oh man, like
I could.
There's so many bands that like aren't together anymore that had phenomenal music. That's like, man, like especially like locally around here. Like we have so many bands. Like there's so much potential where we're from and musically, but nobody looks at it. Especially like if it comes to rap and stuff. Like, oh, we're just out in the sticks. Like, what do we know about hip hop? What do we know about heavy metal? Like, man, there was a band called Helgarth, and I think the only member of it now was the bass player, and he has his own like doom ambient black metal, and it's phenomenal, man, phenomenal. But there'd be so many artists that I'd want to put on that. Like, I mean, just the mixture of, because I mean, music is the melting pot. Like, it really is. Like, I hate when people want to throw like strictly country shows or strictly hip hop shows. It's like if you blend the crowd, you can see that people have so much more in common than just the music they listen to. Like me, like I've always loved like Louder Than Life and Rock on the Range and stuff, just because there is such a wide variety that you can choose from. Plus all you definitely got to get the hog leg person there, the one that sells the giant fucking turkey legs, like $15 for the mutton chop. you got to have that. But nah, man, there's like that would take some time to sit down and actually write out like who would I want at a music festival. Like, man. Like, my dream festival would be crazy, though. Like, it would. Like, Woodstock, but not the one that happened in '99. Like, that was clusterfuck.
I heard that one was a good one. I was too
That's
young to make it.
That's a fun question. That really is. Like, oh, I want to sit down and actually write that out now. Like,
Right.
where would I book for a 2-day festival if I had all the resources to do so? Like, that'd be fucking fun.
What would you name it though?
Well, I mean, we've kind of like almost everything that we've decided to do, like just as a joke, like the whole Colt Deer Totem, just because it's like of the dead. Yeah, definitely get our homie Drizzy on it. Secretly, he writes all of our music. Not really, not really. Running gag. But no, I don't even know. Like Festival Deer Totem.
Right. Something corny. No,
right.
no.
Super original festival name. But it all depend on also where it's located too. Nah, man, it'd be like mash up all these festivals that like go on during the summer. Like, man, fuck having 15. Like, let's just do one massive one. Fuck this camping for a week shit. Can't do that no more. I got too old. Like, oh, I can't festival like I used to. 2 days is perfect. Everybody turned festivals into 3-week long events.
I don't remember the last time I was at a festival.
The last one I was at was Louder Than Life at Champion Park. Or not Champion Park. Was it Champion Park? I think it was like 2016.
Oh, okay.
Me, my wife, her brother, and everybody planned to go the next year, but then it turned into Noah's Ark. Like, all you saw was like amps floating through the water because it like rained for a month straight leading up to the festival, so they canceled it. And then I wanted to go the next year, but then it's been a minute. But we're planning on hopefully hitting the festival circuit this summer. Because I mean,
oh yeah, most definitely.
That's where it's at.
Playing the festival, or just going as a patron?
I would love to perform at them. Like, I mean, like, hey, let's just give us the free passes for the day. Let us perform. We'll come rock a side stage, and then just let me wander around the crowd for a day. Like, man, festivals are fun. They are so much fun. And the characters that you meet. Like, I have a picture on my Facebook of me with a dude dressed up like Joe Dirt. And it was like the coolest thing I've ever had happen at a festival. Between that and holding Zach Wild's guitar cable. That was magical. That was magical.
He just randomly was holding his way.
No, okay, so this was the last time I saw Ozzy. And it was the 2016 Louder Than Life. He was headlining.
Okay.
I think it was the final night. I think it was like the last night or the night before last, one of them. But he got on stage and it was like 3 or 4 songs in. He was doing War Pigs, and it gets to that really high like
yeah,
oh Lord, yeah, and he blew his voice out. So Ozzy ended up like trying to sing, but you could hear that like his voice cut out, and he just ran off stage. He looked, he was like, "I'm sorry," and walked off stage for like 30 minutes. And Zach Wild like was sitting there just shredding.
Yeah.
Like kept looking over at the side stage and like signaled at his guitar tech to come out. The dude brought out, I swear to God, it was the biggest guitar cable I've ever seen in my fucking life. And he just handed it to Zach. Zach walked down the little stairs in front of the stage and just chucked it over the barrier into the crowd. And I was the first person to grab it. And I was 5 feet away from him, just like trying to fight the tears. I was like, this is such a magical moment. But it got so intense with him being in the crowd that the crowd ended up collapsing around us. And my wife's like, yeah, we got to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. 3 more minutes. Just another minute, baby, please. We're all the way up here.
Yeah, the last time I got to see him was Ozzy and Stone Sour.
Yeah, see, Stone Sour was on the festival. Like that's the thing, man. Like just the way that some of these lineups are, just especially this year, like where COVID hit and fucking concerts took a huge hit. It's like all these bands are coming back out and like doing like, man, this year I'm wanting to get to Blue Ridge Rock Fest just so I can see Coheed and Cambria. Like that's my all-time favorite band. Like, yeah, there are other bands that I absolutely love, but I've never heard a band like Coheed and Cambria put out consecutively phenomenal fucking albums that you can just get lost in. Like the lore built around all their music and shit. Like I strive to do that one day. Like have comic books, time.
Yeah, the comic books are pretty cool.
Yeah, the Amory Warriors. Like I've been a fan of Coheed and Cambria since I was in like ninth grade, and I discovered them on like MTV's AM music videos back when they
I
still
found
actually
them.
played music.
I found them through a ringtone on my Motorola Razor. It came up
Really?
preloaded.
Oh man, those were the
Yeah.
days. No, those were the days. Razor phones. Like if you had a razor, you was somebody.
Right.
All right. So speaking of that, if you can pick 3 things from the '90s to bring back, what would they be?
Well, I was gonna say one of them has came back. 007 for the Nintendo 64. They just recently re-released that as like an Xbox Game Pass game, and I tried playing it the other day, and it's like, man, the controls are so wonky because they like the
Yeah,
3-section controller mixed down to 2.
it's not
Until
the
it
same.
turns
It's not the
007 either.
same.
They're remaking a lot of retro games. Like that was a big part of my childhood. Still
Video
today is
games.
video games.
Yeah, like after this, you're probably gonna catch us on on some Warzone,
Right.
trying to get dubs, getting pooped on by like little 12-year-old kids somewhere.
But
Give up and
shit.
go back to Fortnite, get cranked, like have little 9-year-olds cranking 90s on us, boxing us in.
I was always a fighting nerd. Like I don't. I mean, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Clay Fighters, Tekken, like any fighting game. Let's go. Like
See, that was my uncle, man. Like my go-to fighting game was Soul Calibur. Like I
Yeah.
mean, let me do
okay,
Yoshimitsu, and I swear I'm untouchable to everybody but my uncle. My uncle was one of those dudes who break out like the paddle and shit. And I swear it didn't matter if he wasn't trying. He just whooped your ass at every fighting game there ever has been. It's just because like that's what he grew up doing. Like he was like, I was here. Like I was here when the magic was written. Don't you speak it to me. Like, I know this. I can beat you with my eyes closed. I can beat you with you holding my controller. Like do it. And my uncle was nasty at video games. So that's where, like, growing up over the summers with him, that's where, you know, the love for video games really developed. Because he was like, look, you know, you can stay up playing video games all night long. Just know that when I get up for work, if y'all are still up, like, I'm putting y'all to work. He's like, so enjoy the games, like play them. By all means, play them. I want you to experience it, but just know, I get up early. And I mean, it's just one of those. Like, that's a big part of us. Like the whole, a lot of people have asked, like the cult they're toting, like where did that come from? And it's like, you know, we really bonded as teenagers playing fucking Black Ops stuff, like on PlayStation 3. You know, the running the zombies maps, and all of them were named like Kino Deer Toten, Knock Deer Toten, and it literally would translate to Theater of the Dead or Night of the Dead, and Cult Der Toten literally translates to Cult of the Dead or Zombie Cult. So just like, haha, you know, it's just you're saying our name in another language. Like,
so except for video games, is there anything else you would bring back?
oh man, just the music, man. Like the music, like I hold the 90s to early 2000s era of hip hop as I call it the gold or the attitude era. Like, you know, same as like wrestling. Wrestling was like that was when it was at its prime, was in the 90s. Same as like all, I feel like all music then. And I heard, I can't remember who it was. They were on a podcast talking about how like the transition into the digital age of music has kind of killed music. He's like, because you know, on cassette, like it recorded the ambience in a room. Like if there was a party going on behind the scenes of a record, like, you know, especially like Wu-Tang, like you can hear it.
Yeah,
You can feel that energy listening to Enter the 36 Chambers. Like, yo, I feel like I'm there in this fucking recording studio in Staten Island with 15 dudes rapping over a beat, just murdering it. But like wrestling, the wrestling of the 90s, just because like, man, that was like when like Hulk Hogan, of course, was on the top of his
yeah.
game. Mick Foley, which he's supposed to be here where I live next month, and I'm making my way up to the mall to meet him just because like he's always like one of these days I'm gonna get him in a music video. Like we're gonna have him like power bombing me through a table or something. Like, take that bump, like, please. But yeah, the music of the '90s, the video games of the '90s, of course, not with like in the polygon greatness it was. Like, of course, like bring it back and remaster it. But yeah, Road Warriors. Yeah, dog.
Maybe the
Dudley
price of
Brothers.
eggs.
Yeah, the price of eggs, gasoline, gas prices. Most
Yeah.
definitely. God. Oh man.
All right,
Because
so
nobody's going to pay $44 for a gallon of gas. Like, I can't do that. The cost of living, maybe. I'd definitely bring the cost of living of the '90s back.
Right.
yeah.
Oh man.
All right, so we're pretty much at the halfway mark. I let my guests flip it on me. You can ask me anything.
All right. I guess out of all the concerts you've been to, who would you say would put on the best show?
I'm gonna date myself here. I was at the first Family Value store,
Okay.
and that was nuts. It was Korn, Limp Bizkit, Ice Cube, Rob Stein, Orgy, and I'm trying to think if there was anybody else. I mean, I'm actually going to a concert not this Tuesday, the Tuesday after as well. But yeah, I'll be at Theory of a Dead Man on the 28th.
Oh, I got a song that samples RX by Theory of a Dead Man that I released. Fuck. But back when that song came out, because I was like, oh, that song's phenomenal.
I think I've only been to one bad show.
Yeah, that was going to be the next question. Who was the worst show you've ever been to?
Hoobastank.
Yeah.
Like when they first came out, it was stage presence wasn't there.
See, that's one thing that we've actually, because man, like if I could show you old performance videos of us, like we had absolutely no stage presence.
Yeah, I can show you hour-long videos of me standing in the corner of the stage.
Same spot, just barely moving. But it was the same with me, where I'd stand in the same spot and be flailing around. But
I might hear shit for this, but like, if you're just a wet, like a wet noodle, your music could be phenomenal, but if you're not jumping around or doing something,
like bringing the energy, or at least
Yeah, it's like there's a group we used to do music with, and their stage presence was amazing. I like went and bought T-shirts and CDs and shit. Like, biggest fan in the bar that night, and so I got in the car and put their CD in my CD player.
Oh my god! And then it sounded like booth and a microphone, like literally, just terrible,
Yeah.
terrible. But then us, like once we figured out, like because we had somebody tell us, he was like, imagine the box. Once you get on stage and the music starts, imagine there's a box around you. Now do everything you can to avoid that box. Like once the music starts, step out of the box and avoid the box at all costs. And that really helped getting us like actually moving around. Like it took some time for us to figure out like, you got to bob around a little bit. Like if you're not feeling your music, then
No one
how
else.
are you going to get a whole crowd to feel it? But ours, once we got the stage presence down, we were like, like wow, we were raw, we killed it. And then we like go pass out our CDs to people in the bar, and we're like, yeah, they're gonna hear like it's rough, it's really rough, but they're gonna hear the potential in it. And then like going back and listening to some of these old songs, I'm like, oh my god, wow,
Hardwire's gonna have a field day with us.
Yeah, like hey, do you remember this? Like no, please, dog. Like I'll give you $100 not to ask me that. Like, please don't bring that up. Oh man. But yeah, like let's see. So worst concert was Hoobastank. I think one of the like there was a toss up for one that I went to. One of the last like solo concerts I went to was Puddle of Mud. and this was back in like 2018. They ended up coming to a bar that we used to perform at all the time, and the sound guy fucked it up. Like, I mean, you could hear the guitars and the bass and the drums, but you could not hear Wes singing at all. But me and my wife were literally right there beside him while he was performing, so we could hear it. And it was like, you know, you could feel the energy, but everybody else was like, it was terrible. But
Wait, did he act right at least?
I mean, he had a book bag that he was clutched onto for dear fucking life. Like, he came to basically like Drug County, West Virginia, and was met with an abundance. Right after the show, because I made a friend with, it was me, my wife, her friend Carmen, their friend Chelsea, which they all called themselves the Wolf Pack, and then their friend Chelsea was dating this dude that became a really good friend of mine, and I nicknamed him Jersey Shore John because he looked like, I think his name was Ron that JWoww dated, like he big muscles, fucking all these tattoos, wore a bandana, had the faux hawk. Like, I mean, if you looked at him, you'd be like, he is an absolute tool. Like, he is absolutely a tool. But then he was this really down to earth dude, like just cool as fuck. It's just he dressed like a tool. But they had gotten their drink on, and he was like, "Yo, we're ready to go home. Like, you know, we're ready to get back to the house, drop y'all off, and we're gonna go do our thing." And Wes was out in the parking lot, was like, "Hey, I got a bag of fun right here, kids. Like, if y'all take me to my hotel, we can party like rock stars." And I was like, "What, party with Wes from Puddle of Mud? Literally party like a rock star? Let's do it." And John and Chelsea said no. They're like, we're ready to go home. And I'm like, dog, like, y'all could do what you're trying to do in the rock star's hotel room, okay? He a rock star. Like, he ain't gonna care.
He'll understand.
Hey, y'all do you. Like, I just want to party with a rock star, pass my music along. Because I had people there asking me that night that were part of an MC that I was friends with, and they were like, "Why aren't you performing tonight?" And I was like, "Well, man, like, the music tonight and what I make, they don't really mix that well." He was like, "Oh, fuck that. Yeah, they do." He's like, "You should get up there and do some raps anyway." And I was like, "No." No, I'm not storming the stage and getting kicked out of here, dog. Like, sorry.
So I'm guessing it was
iffy. Like, me and my wife, we thoroughly enjoyed the show, but that's because we were right there beside the stage and could hear him singing as well as everybody else singing. It was almost like I assume you've been to a basement show.
Yeah, several.
Some basement shows, like, they get the house fucking cranking. And that's how I felt. Like, I was like, man, I'm in here vibing. Like, this is absolutely a great time. And then, like, the next day, like, you see all these people post on Facebook, like, that show last night was absolutely bullshit. I want my money back. And I'm like, well, y'all had a bad time? Everybody else says it was a terrible show, but I thought it was great. It was like an acoustic set from Puddle of Mud, but the only person acoustic was Wes.
Do you remember where it was at?
Yeah, it was at Munchie's Bar and Grill in Beckley, West Virginia. That's where we performed. Oh my God, I swear, like,
3 days a week,
every weekend for
3 years.
Yeah, we were on every Psychopathic Records tour that came through West Virginia.
Hell, we was up there so much they had us open for Rehab.
Yeah, that was
really?
Also an amazing show. Like, Rehab that night put on one hell of a show, and it's like, because I love their album Graffiti the World. Like, you know, well known fact about me is I used to love being what was it, constructive vandalism is I think what I called it. Like, you know, I didn't go out there and tag like gang tags all sloppy on the side of a building. Like, I go out there motivational graffiti, like, you know, you were beautiful. Never give up. Which, oh man, there's a building where I used to live that I tagged that on from the age of like 15 up until I was like 22. Like, I spray painted it on there in black. Came by like 2 days later, they painted over it. So I went back over it in red. They painted over it. Went back over it in green. They painted over it. Went back over it in black again. Then eventually, after like 2 years of like going back there and spray painting, never give up on the side of this building. yeah, they finally was just like, we're gonna leave it. And it was there for years, and then they tore it down. I was like, I need to go back there, like on the building next door, do it, because it was like at the time it was right behind or next door to, it was like a gym, or it was something for like one of the college athletes or something, like a gym for college athletes. And I was like, motivational, never give up, and I'm gonna persevere through every time they slap a coat of white paint over this. like perseverance, you never know, and like to overcome all the obstacles. But I used to do creative vandalism. Like I was inspired by Banksy. I thought, like you can get a message out, and then heard the song Graffiti the World, and I was like, it makes sense. Like, they're gonna arrest me for tagging a wall, but they graffiti the air and with poison, and the skies with satellites, and lands with buildings and highways. And I was like, that I love it. Like, yeah. But that show was absolutely phenomenal. Like that was a fun fucking night. Because it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was like right after tax season, and we went in there balling at the bar.
Oh yeah.
I tried so many alcohols I've never heard of that night. Like Omen's old lady had got a tray of drinks for everybody in our party, and I didn't know. I'd already drank way too much. And she came up, she's like, here. I guess she was handing it to me to take back over to our group of friends. But that's not what I thought. I thought she was telling me, like, here, I got these for you. So I was like,
boom, 10 Jaeger bombs.
You started sampling everything?
Well, I thought they were for me. I was like, oh, thanks, man. Stopping every 5 miles on the way home so I could throw up.
Good times.
But yeah, good times. Good times. Sleeping in the trunk of the car on the way home. Because we went to the club, we had it was like a Suzuki S-By-4.
Yeah, it's a little hatchback. Just enough room in the trunk to fit a person.
But it was like, it seated like 4 people comfortably. But we packed like sardines going to every show. It was like, hey, we're going to get a clown car. We roll up. There's like 12 of us pop out of this little car. Hey, what's up? We're here. We're ready. I hope you are.
20-minute trip. I have to get a motel room so everyone can wash their ass first.
Like, hey, everybody here that's with us part of the band. Like, no, good and fucking well they weren't. We're rolling up to every show like the Wu-Tang Clan, just a huge posse of people. Like, hey, all of our friends, like, I know tickets are $20 to get in.
It's like, but those 7 are security. That's our cameraman.
Oh, it was fun times, man. Like back then, like Munchies, it's not even a bar anymore. Like I think it's like a little gambling spot now. But it used to be like it was a place for live music, man. Like I mean, it was just like little hole in the wall bar. It seemed like out in the middle of nowhere. But if you got out there during certain shows, especially once they brought like Juggalo acts and shit out, like ICP and Twisted, and oh man, it was like max capacity was like 200 people, but it'd be like 500-600 people in there. It was a vibe, man. It was. Like, I mean, there were so many amazing acts that were coming through, but and that was one thing I realized, like, as we got older, like, the reason we never got swept up with them was, once we passed out a CD, it just, the quality wasn't there, so it's like, what's the point of, like, yeah, they had a great stage presence, but, man, they sound like ass on a record. I'm like, man, why don't we have many fans? But then we linked up with an old friend of ours who lives down in Virginia that goes by So Ghostly. And he's
we actually met at Munchies.
Yeah, we met him at Munchies when he was like 17 years old. And he was like, look, I figured out how to produce music. He's like, so, hang on. Hey, buddy, quit flipping the lights on and off, please. I'm not. Now, yeah, he's in there. Strobe light in the bathroom. But yeah, we met him, and he was like, I got everything like to record with. He's like, I'm actually going to be coming up there to record one of my friends who lives near y'all. So let's get together. He's like, I want to work on an album for you. And we recorded our first official EP with him in a fucking hotel room. Like, can you put us on the far side of the hotel room?
Yeah, I mean, they treated us like royalty. They knew we was in there recording.
Yeah, they put us like way away from everybody else, so we wouldn't disturb anybody. And in the process of us recording our 6-track EP, which I think we recorded 7 songs that night, but we only used 6 for the EP. And he also recorded like 14 songs for his friend that he had came down for, and he was like, "Look, man, sorry that we ran out of time." We're like, "No, this little EP is it's basically an audible EPK, like showcasing what we can do." And he was like, "Y'all got to come down here." He's like, "Next time we record, I want y'all to come to my studio." And we went down to his home studio down in Queen City, Virginia, and oh man, worked 3 days, like 2.5 days. We got down there all Friday night, recorded all Saturday, recorded, and then Sunday before we had to come back home, like final touches on some shit. And I'm like, man, I can't wait to, now that we have our own studio, get him like as executive producer, I guess, or co-producer. I don't know how that works. Titles in music are crazy. And get him to like help coach us through how we can do it on our end instead of like, hey, let's further this for each other. So we're trying to move with and do shit with him all summer this summer, because I mean he's got all of Virginia mapped out, and we got most of like Ohio and up into Detroit and Philadelphia and DC. So we're planning on like Tri-County, I guess, or more than Tri-County, but like, or Tri-City state.
Tri-state.
Damn. Like we're trying to do some gnarly shit this summer, just because nobody's trying to go out in the cold right now to go to a show. Like it's too cold unless it's a massive festival. Like, I mean, me personally, like I'm like, it's too cold. It's too cold. I ain't trying to go to a bar. Not right now. It's like now that it's starting to get warm and shit. Like come June, July, like it's on. It's on.
I'm that person. You say concert, I say where and how much. So like, I mean, I listen to everything. So if the prices aren't that outrageous,
Right.
you don't know. You never know if I'll be in your crowd or not.
Well, like, there was a show that just happened up in Ohio called Juggle Ohio. And here I was like, it's going to be at a bar. Like, yeah, they got one big named act on it. I was like, a lot of people are like, oh, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be that crazy. And then, like, I saw videos. And I was like, man, we should have fucking went. Like, that was where it was at.
Here's the thing, and I've learned this in the past couple of years. It's okay to go to gigs alone. You know what I'm saying? But like, if everybody's on the fence of going, get yourself a ticket. Just go. That goes with any. I mean, what's the worst thing gonna happen? You didn't like it. You spend $20 on the ticket.
Yeah, but you might meet some cool people. Like back again when Munchies was open. Like I was living like a town or two over. And I got a message from the dude who owned the club, and he's like, "Hey, man, I got Wednesday 13 coming out. I've never listened to him a day in my life." And I asked my wife about it, and she's like, "You should go see him. Like, they're amazing." And I was like, "All right." He was like, "If you come out," he's like, "I got free tickets for you if you get here." And I rolled out, and they did an acoustic set. Like, it was just I don't know the dude's name, but like the lead singer and their guitarist, and they did an acoustic set, and it was absolutely phenomenal because it was one of those very intimate show, a very intimate show.
Those are the best nights.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy because it wasn't like packed the bar or anything, which reminded me a lot of because I used to perform at open mic nights at an art gallery in Bluefield, and that helped get me over like the stage fear, like the getting nervous going up on stage.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those, like, you could hear people like having their little quiet conversations off in the corner and just the ambient music playing. It was like, it took me back because those were where I was at. Like I was 15 years old and got to meet BB King, and that like at an art gallery just randomly, and it was phenomenal. Like, those I wish I could go back. Like you're talking about what we could bring back. I'd bring back Gary Bowling's House of Art, man.
Yeah,
that was the fucking place to be. Like, it really was. A quiet cafe, and You know, you got like a bunch of local and regional people coming through. Just like sometimes, like BB King was there. There was other times that you'd have poets from like California coming out.
And you'd have like artist Patch Whiskey sitting around sculpting stuff, painting stuff. It's
Yeah,
awesome place to be, if
me and
especially if you were an artist.
me and the guy that like I told you like had the line that was like zombie cults on the streets, so keep the windows boarded. Me and him used to go and like because before I was actually rapping, I tried to sing, and this is when I realized that I didn't have the voice for it. I sound goofy as fuck when I sing. So I was like, you know, I'm gonna play guitar, I can rap, and you know, we were heavy into the Beatles, and we'd get Patch Whiskey, who phenomenal art, like actual artist, and we get him up there on a djembe and stuff, just tapping away, and it was man, those were the days. Nothing like being 16, 17 years old in this art gallery, surrounded by like a bunch of older people letting like free form jazz and shit mold you like musically and shit. Like, oh, it was great.
And
It was
then
great.
take it home too with your friends, jam in the attic over at Trevor's house.
Yeah, after it ended, go back over to our other friend's house and go up into his little attic loft area that they converted into a bedroom and just pile around on these old broke down couches, just living like it was that 70s show. You know, it was amazing. Oh, what I'd do to recapture my youth.
Hmm.
Those were the days, man. And those were where I was at because I remember at that art gallery them trying to break the world record for the world's longest skateboard. And they had one. It technically was the world's longest skateboard, but they had too many. I guess it was like too many sets of trucks or something on it, or too many pieces, and they like Guinness World Record stripped the title from them. But it was great, man. That was where it was at. Like, I would love to, because there's a dude who used to record them, but it just didn't capture the essence of what it was. Like one of those people that just sit the camera in the corner and just record the whole night. But it's like, man, you're not catching the vibe of like the atmosphere here. And then the city of Bluefield ended up shutting Gary down. They didn't like the free spiritedness of Gary Bowling. Like, 'cause he was, man. Like,
If you could change one thing in the industry, what would it be?
this popularity contest. This popularity contest
Most
that's going on.
definitely.
Where, you know, you could be super fucking talented. Like, I know a lot of underground artists in different genres that blow a lot of these mainstream artists out the water with talent. But because, you know, they're not super fucking beautiful and, like, you know, they don't got 500 million trillion followers, like, you know, nobody wants to listen to them. It's like, oh, you got 200 likes on your Facebook, you're nobody. It's like, yeah, but this little nobody does like raps better than this dude that everybody's giving all their money to, and he's like real about what he's saying. Like, I mean, he has a message that he's trying to get across, but everybody's like, oh well, once this guy gets 500 million views, maybe we'll listen to him. Like, once the industry gives him a cosign, then we'll listen to him. It's like, man, like, that's why I love the underground, like the underground community of music, not just hip hop or rap or anything, but like the underground music scenes. It seems like is making a resurgence with really, really, really amazing fucking music. Like, I have a cousin in a band called Pelican Motel, and like they do this like it's like indie. Oh, fuck, I don't even like. It's indie popish, but it's like really, really, really fucking intricate music. Like our friend Trevor that was originally in the band, like he has his own little side project playing like guitar and all kinds of other really weird instruments, and it's phenomenal. But it's like, you know, it doesn't have 500,000
You got a new game now?
followers.
Spider-Man soon left. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that's what I've changed, the whole popularity contest. I wish people would step outside of what the radio says is good music and discover good music, because it's there. Like everybody says, like especially in rap, like everybody's saying the same thing, like rap's dead. And it's like it's not. It's just underground. Like that problem is like there's some phenomenal fucking rappers. There's some phenomenal rock bands. There's some phenomenal metal bands that just don't get the exposure that they need, but they're fucking great. they're geniuses, but nobody. It's like, well, they're not on. Like, I don't see them with a verified Twitter account. Like, fuck Twitter. I don't need Twitter to be cool. Wife's
So
letting
if
the dog
you
out.
so if you could give any advice for anybody that's trying to start up in the music industry, what would you tell them?
Hone your craft first. Hone your craft first. Quality over quantity. Like I see people like I'm working on this 40 song CD, and it's like, yeah, you can crank out 40 songs, but if the sound quality is not there and the talent isn't there, like don't rush it. Like take yourself seriously first and foremost. You gotta take yourself seriously. Like
Man,
if you don't take it seriously, who else is going to?
right, not just that, but I've actually recently told people this because someone messaged me asking for some advice. Like they don't know why their music's not gaining traction or and stuff like that. And I told them it's like it's the way you're like promoting yourself. You're forcing yourself on people. It's like you don't have to just continuously message people with links to your music. And he got mad at me. He's like, "Oh, you just don't like my music." And I told him it's like if you want to keep doing this shit, you're gonna have to grow thicker skin, learn how to take criticism, whether it be good, bad, whatever. Because when I started doing this shit, anytime someone told me it's like, "Oh man, I don't like your music," I'd go into defense mode. It's like, no, you're absolutely wrong.
You're a
But
hater.
you
You're a
gotta
hater.
listen to people when they tell you. Like, if you think you need advice, take it.
Oh yeah, man.
Don't try to do it by yourself.
I got into it with somebody on Facebook. Like they had posted a reel, and I told him, I was like, if I was you, I was like, this has potential. Take it back to the writing board and rework this. And this dude just went slap the fuck off about it. And I'm like, look, man, like you got to learn, because I was the same way. Like when we first started doing it, if anybody said that, like, man, you're whack, like I was ready to fight. Like, I will beat you up. I'm the best there is, the best there ever will be. Ain't nobody better than me. And then, I learned, like, that having an ego in music basically gets you killed.
It's going to get you nowhere.
It's like, you can have an ego in music if you are like, if you're a guitarist and like can absolutely shred like what is his name? Antonio Sebastian Bach. No, that's not his name. Fuck, what is his name? Dude that plays like 5 guitars at once.
Right. Yeah, like he's fueled by nothing but his ego because he can back it up.
Yeah.
It's like if you can, like I'm the baddest fucking guitarist there is, and I'm like, oh, I'll prove it. And next thing you know, you pop out a guitar and start fucking shredding and melting face. Like,
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like if Eminem gets on Twitter and he's like, "I'm the GOAT," how many people are truly gonna question it unless they're hiding behind an ego?
Right. Which
Yeah.
I mean, but that's one of the things though, is it's hard for people like to actually say, like, because it all depends. Like they just recently released like Billboard's top 50 rappers of all time, and you got so many people that are upset about the fucking about the list. So like, oh well, this rapper's not on there. This rapper's not on there. And it's like what was
Billboard chart with the list?
yeah, fix your
based
mic real quick, dog. You getting all low body. But it's one of those like they're like, this rapper's not here. What was the criteria that they used? And I was like, well, I'm pretty sure how they based this was on what rappers were on the billboards the most. Like what rapper had #1 hits, and they're like, Jay-Z shouldn't be #1, and this guy should be on here. No, he's not even a mention of this guy. And I'm like, I get it. I don't agree with the list either. Like,
it's more than just the Billboard.
Nobody.
Shit. Is that any better?
No,
No.
What about that?
a little bit. Talk
A
again.
little bit.
How about now?
It's
Yeah.
I was about to
It's
say,
getting
but
there.
again, I'm used to the like us. No, I'm used to like us when we're playing games. Like every once in a while, we'll have like this lag echo,
Yeah,
and it's like I'm like fuck, I don't care. Like I can hear
yeah,
you, but no, like having an ego in music, like unless you have skill to back it up, to have a fucking massive head, and then it's like, oh, I don't have a massive head. Learn to take constructive criticism and definitely hone your craft. Like it's cool to see like the progress of artists. Like see that they like if you listen to my first fucking album that I released as like a hip hop artist compared to the last album we just released, like night and day, night and day. But it was like I had a huge fucking ego with the first one because I recorded my first song and everybody's like, "Oh shit, hell yeah!" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm the fucking best, dog. What's good? I'm the greatest rapper."
We dissed Eminem back in the day.
We really did.
We wrote a song called "Time to Murder Shady."
And we were like, yeah, but in a sense, it was like kind of a clickbait. Like, it was clickbait before clickbait was a thing. And you're like, yo, we're gonna do this diss track about Eminem, and it's gonna get Eminem to respond to us. Well, once he responds to us, we good.
We're famous.
We're there. Never got there. We just had everybody in our hometown like they really tried to fucking diss Eminem. Like, where the fuck up, guys? Oh man. Yeah, definitely like hone your skills. Hone your skills. Like yeah, post progress of what you do, but hone your skills before you try to seriously put anything out. And when you put it out, stand behind your product 100%.
Yeah, but don't let people get under your skin if they try to tell you, like, give you actual advice. Like, back in the day, I'd be ready to fight someone because they told me they didn't like the beat, and I didn't even make the beat. That's not my.
yeah.
Like, just listen to people.
Like it'll go a long way. Like take the advice people give. Like if you get advice from somebody, especially even if they're just like oh we got 3,000 followers. So this guy has 5,000. Like if he gives you some advice on what you need to do to get yourself even like to progress even further, take it. Unless it's just absolutely stupid advice, and you got to be the judge of that. Like, well, you need to go out there and punch some old man out in the street, like film it, put your music behind it. It's going viral. Maybe not do that. maybe don't try that one. That one might not work the way it should. That'll get you the publicity you don't want. Like they used to say, all press is good press. Like. No, that is absolutely wrong.
To a point, though.
I mean, yeah, like if you look back at like Manson, like the shock value of what he did on stage.
Yeah.
Like all press is good press because he's getting like the Beatles, like the church is going in and buying up all these Beatles albums and burning them. Like, cool. If you know what, do that to our music. Go get all our music, buy everything we got and burn it. I don't care.
Right.
You just put money in my pocket.
Yep.
Now billboards and radio are looking at it. They're like, oh, these are best-selling artists. Like all these people that are boycotting this, like you see the young kids that are like, well, they must be boycotting this for a reason. Like ICP with "We Are the World's Most Hated Band." Like, oh, like why are they hated?
Right. Like I used to get grounded for mentioning the Insane Clown Posse.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing: they're hated because they are different.
Exactly.
People hate things that are different. Like, yeah, the FBI claimed them as a cult as well.
Gang, as a gang. They claim that
A gang, sorry. Well,
yeah, they
same
claim
thing.
that the followers of their music were a gang. But my response to that was, well, did the U.S. government consider the KISS Army a real army?
I mean, like,
I mean, they could. People who love the music, like,
realist. I mean, that would be funny if they actually did, but
right, pull some fucking Waco shit on them. KISS just chilling in their multi-million-dollar homes. Fucking tanks roll up. Headline news the next day: U.S. government declares war on Kiss. Oh man,
That would be funny though.
dealing with them. Hell yeah, they would. See, that was one thing, man. Like, I actually worked at a fucking call center and got to speak to Gene Simmons once on the phone, which was like, I think the greatest day I ever had working at that call center. Because I was sitting there and somebody called in, give me all the info to get into their account, and the name on it was Gene Simmons, and it was like somewhere out in, I think it was like New York or New Jersey or something. And I was like, like just trying to sneak my way in to talk to him. I was like, I need to talk to the account holder. I was like, is Mr. Simmons around? And like, the lady was like, yeah, hang on. She's like, here, Gene, somebody wants to talk to you. And he was like, well, I was like, yeah, I'm working for da-da-da company. I just need to confirm that it's you. I was like, is this Gene Simmons? And he was like, yeah. I was like, the Gene Simmons. He's like, yeah. I was like, Kiss bassist, rock legend, Gene Simmons. He's like, yeah. It's so awesome to talk to you. I just held out for a minute. I was like, okay, you can put it back on the phone. It was fucking absolutely hilarious. And then like after that, the whole day, like everybody was like, "Man, I've had a terrible day." I was like, "Well, I haven't. I talked to Gene Simmons. Like, I can get all the shitty customers the rest of the day. I got to talk to Gene Simmons." Like, no, you didn't. I was like, yeah. You kept the account pulled up for the rest of the day just to show people, like, look, I talked to him.
Mhm.
The problem is, oh man.
He says, shit, if 5 friends get matching tats, they're considered a gang. Shit, we're a gang, dog.
Yeah. Shit, me, you, Steph, Momo,
Shane, but Shane
yeah,
covered his.
Yeah, he covered his.
But there was 5 at one point, so we're a gang.
Borderline. Now we gotta get 10 more people. 10 more people to get it. We're gonna get on the FBI watch list. Like, we're gonna make a documentary about it. March on Capitol Hill.
Right.
Blow up like that. But that is one thing that I can say about ICP is, like, if you go back and you actually read or listen to the audiobook Violent J's Behind the Paint, like, if you don't just take it at face value for, like, just his autobiography, but actually listen to, like, his promotion tactics. Like, I went back and listened to it, and I was like, man, like, he dropped jewels of knowledge about how to get yourself into this. He's like, of course times have changed. You don't really see people out there throwing up flyers over an entire wall in the city anymore. But
No,
you see people, it's online. It's all online. And I was like, man, have a social media presence in the sense of the way that they had, like, a physical presence of posting flyers and stuff. And that's one thing that we try to tell, like, because we noticed some of the bands that we've done shows with. Like, we did one back in August at a bar in our hometown, and we sent everybody that was on the show the flyer. We were the only ones that you saw sharing the flyer or paying for promotion for the flyer. And I was like, man, like, y'all know you got to share this more than one time, right? Like, if we want people to show up, like, if we can all bring 10 people out, that's 40 people in this little bar, and it's going to feel like 500. And then 2 days before the show, one of the bands backed out. The day before the show, another band backed out, and then the day of the show, the other band pulled out. So it was like, one of those, like, on our toes, ended up fucking finding, like, we changed the entire name of the show. It went from being the Undead Takeover with, like, us, and it was like us, a sludge metal band, a horror punk band, and a dude who we fuck with down in Virginia who raps in his team. And we changed it from that to being the Undead Takeover to the Oops All Rappers Showcase. And we were like, we know everybody in town raps. Like, as long as we got a PA system, we'll come in and we'll rock it the rest of the night. Fuck it. And then the one dude that was, I think he was the bassist, or no, vocalist for the band. He came in, he's like, look, I'll run sound for y'all if y'all want.
Not bassist.
He's like, I'll run sound if y'all don't care. I was like, man, like, as long as you want to still be a part of this, we'll let you be a part of it. Like, he's like, I'm sorry that the band backed out. It was like something, I think they had kicked their drummer out of the band.
Yeah.
And they had, like, their tour drummer that they had just picked up, and he hadn't had a chance to really get to know the songs yet. And they're like, I was like, well, this sucks. this sucks ass. I was like, but you know what? Fuck it, we gonna make do. Like, stay positive.
And we did.
And oh my god, like 40, 50 people feels like, if not more. Like, I mean, I swear it felt like there was like 300 people in this little.
Which
Oh
the
my god, it was like a single wide
amount of
trailer
money
and
we
shit.
made at the door that night, there was more
Yeah,
in and out of the door at very least.
it was fun, man. See, like that's why like we're trying to get back into doing these shows and shit, because it's like, you know, we noticed. That was one thing I learned is like the reason you see a lot of bands tour, like constantly on tour, is because they don't make much money off of record sales. They make their money doing shows. And I was like, you know, that's where the bulk of money can come in to keep a fucking an organization that you set up running. So that's what we're trying to do is this summer, like a whole fucking Eastern Coast, not exactly full East Coast, but like East Coast for us takeover, like West Virginia, Ohio, Detroit, Indiana, Virginia, DC, Pennsylvania. Like we're looking to Kentucky and Tennessee. Like we're looking to this whole little area around this part of West Virginia.
So, do you have anything you want to say to your fans?
Thanks for supporting
Yeah.
us. Thanks for the continued love and support. Like I've always said, like if I can reach just one person through music, because like there's a rap group I listen to from England that don't even rap anymore, that like their music helped get me through a lot of shit. Like, you know, and I feel like that's if my music can reach somebody, regardless if they're here in the U.S. or over in Russia or Ukraine or Bulgaria, which one of the dudes who produces music on our last tape was from. And like, if we can get our music over to anybody, like if anybody feels like the calling from our music, like, thank you for sticking with us while we figure this shit out too.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming, but we're still going.
Yeah, I think 12 years deep now. 2011, I think, is when we initially started doing this shit. Like right after I graduated.
Which I know at work the other day, I was looking at some of the shit me and Skylar used to do, just like reminiscing old times, and some of it was popping up from like 11 years ago.
Yeah,
Really?
we've been here for been doing this for a while, for quite a while. It's just now the producer that we have down in Virginia, he schooled us on a lot of shit. Like, you know, a lot of them, we're like, man, any knowledge that we get, we're willing to pass on to other people. Like, we don't want to gatekeep.
No.
You know, we want to see everybody get theirs.
Oh yeah.
Like no point in being one of these people that just want to like, oh, gimme, and then step on everybody else along the way.
Like a couple people we know.
Yeah, we've known a couple people that have done that. Like we don't want to get anywhere off the backs of other people. Like one of those, like if we get up, we want to bring who was there with us up with us. And it's the same as like the dudes down at Premium Product in Virginia. Like they've helped show us the way on some shit, and we're trying to help show them the way on some shit, and hopefully we're able to like merge our shit together for this summer. We'll get cranking all over the country. And then from there work to do bigger and bigger and bigger. Like I mean, like we're wanting to hit a couple festivals this summer, like doing shows like Blue Ridge and hopefully the Gathering if it even happens this year. I think that Metal in the Mountains, if they do it this year, like we're trying to get on a couple of them, and then from there, like maybe next year instead of doing like bar shows, like nothing. I want my cat doing. Instead of doing bar shows, doing strictly festivals. And then eventually we want to try to break over into the European circuit and start doing shows all over like Norway and Europe, because hip hop has a crazy reach. Like it is
it does.
insane. Like just see like, because I was on this one podcast the other night, and they played a dude from, it was Dutch. I can't remember where he said he was from, but he rapped in Dutch, and I was like, I have no idea what this guy's saying, none at all.
Whole vibe.
But yeah, the dude's song was a whole vibe. I was like, he could literally be saying all kinds of really foul things, like that one TikTok video that come to find out like all these kids are dancing to, and it's a very dirty song. But I was like, man, the vibe of this song is it's crazy. You need to brush up on some other languages so I can learn to do this shit. Target specifically. Let's burn Scandinavian, so I can just. Here you go. Here's a song in Scandinavian for you.
So I'm gonna let you guys drop all your handles and what's going on next.
All right. Give me a second. I'll pop this in the chat real quick. Oh no. And this right here is basically our EPK. You can find everything Zombie Cult affiliated on this. And boom, there it is on the chat on YouTube.
Yep, I dropped it too.
Yeah,
And
it's
though you
Linktree
might not see this,
Zombie Cult.
yeah, Linktree, linktr.ee/zombie cult, and that is spelled with the 3.
You gotta remember, you gotta throw the 3 in there.
Yeah, if you don't put the 3 in there,
Yeah, it's gonna take you to some weird like fucking I think it was like a 60s or 70s zombie flick. It's like Zombie Cult Massacre or some shit. People are like, y'all did a movie? Like, yeah, maybe
no.
one day. Maybe one day. But not today. But yeah, Linktree/Zombie Cult. You can find, of course, our Spotify, which you'll see our Cult They're Toting 2 Voices from the Horde. You'll be able to find the Cult They're Toting EP. You'll be able to find our social medias, our online merch store, which just expect to see us all over the east side of the country this summer. We're trying to be just about everywhere.
So I'd like to thank you guys for your time. Just a reminder, this is going to be on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and maybe TikTok later on tonight.
All right. I appreciate you having us on. Like, I mean,
Oh, yeah,
it's
most
really
definitely.
cool because we're like this is new for us. Like, I mean, we've been on a few podcasts, but most of it was just like basically shooting the shit. Like, nobody really asking any serious questions. But like, this is awesome. Like, I mean, we've enjoyed being on here. Like, man,
Thank you.
you've asked some pretty fucking awesome questions. Like, I really do want to sit down now and try to like map
Yeah,
out the whole fucking music festival.
You could send them over to me later on.
Oh, most definitely. But no, we've appreciated you having us on here, man. Like letting us tell a little bit about ourselves.